Hello, America, and to our friends around the world, welcome to the Common Sense Show. We are the show that is freeing America one enslaved mind at a time. Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to talk about Tucker Carlson, and I don't think there's a more maligned person on the planet, journalistically speaking, than Tucker. You might add in Candace. And wait a minute, what do Candace and Tucker have in common? Well, it's also what Dave Hodges has in common. And my commonality with these two explains why my viewers are totally blocked, for the most part, from coming to my website, from accessing these postings. The only thing that's not been affected, knock on wood, are my podcasts, which are still doing really well. And it's not a coincidence that this is happening to us, where our views on social media have gone to absolutely zero. And that's why, if you think we have a message here that's valuable, I would encourage you to please share this far and wide with people, because otherwise you're going to have the dominant narrative. Tucker's bad, Candace is bad, Dave Hodges is drinking their Kool-Aid. And what I'm telling you right now is, if you don't prepare, if you don't do the things that I think you need to do collectively as Americans, you're going to live to regret it, or you may not live to regret it. And I'm not being dramatic. We're going to lay this out in the next couple of segments, but I want to just read to you something from X about Tucker. But first, I'm going to tell you this. Spent some time with Marianne today. We're doing a commercial shoot up in Vegas for a new development. You'll hear about it. And what's interesting is that Marianne, out of the blue, showed up and said, I want to go see Dave and Sarah do this. And I walked out of the green room, and there she was. And we talked about 7702. And I have to tell you, if you're sitting on any kind of money and you're putting it in the bank, you're a darn fool. Inflation will eat you alive. And then you include Dodd-Frank, they can take your money, they can take your retirement. You need to have operating capital in the bank. All retirement should be out, back it with precious metals. Okay. Or you can also split it and do what I recommend you do. Gold is good, silver is great. But I'm telling you too, you want to turn that money into programs like IULs and the life care, insurance, and so forth, and make that a revenue producer that's tax-free, legal under 7702. And the rich are pissed off because they have figured out at Ironhawk Financial how to do this legally, and they can't be touched, and you're the beneficiary. You just got to be smart enough to step up to the plate and let this happen. So you want to know more? Well, you need to talk to these people. They'll tell you right away if they can help you. If they can help you, you're looking at big paydays, huge paydays, all legal, and the government can't touch it. It's recession proof because the rich are in it. So the economy can go to hell in a handbasket, but you're going to be sitting in a good position. Go to dhawk.com. That's dhawk.com. Let me share this with you. Something that ran on the Can't Be Censored podcast on June 18th in a Tucker Carlson announcement. He said that, and I quote, I can no longer back Republicans. He blamed their support for U.S. involvement in the war with Iran, sparked by strikes on February 28th that killed the Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, for prioritizing Israel over America. Yeah, and you know my belief on this. We go back into the Charlie Kirk situation, all part of the same, now shall we say it, plot. Tucker went on to say that he criticized the recent U.S.-Iran memorandum signed June 17th under President Trump as a betrayal of American first principles. I agree with that, saying he's out and predicting others will follow. Let me tell you where I'm at with this. I am not in lockstep with Tucker, but I will tell you this. I want to know who's kidnapped Donald Trump. and what they've done with my president because I don't recognize the person that's in the Oval Office who stood for my rights, freedom of religion, freedom of speech, took on enemies against the Republic, like the Trans-Pacific Partnership. He saved America when he took that away. I don't recognize this man right now. And I was at dinner tonight with some business people and with friends of mine like Sarah and Scotty Sachs. You're all familiar with them. Scotty and I had a friendly debate, and Scotty and I are very good friends. But we had a friendly debate about Donald Trump. He's still optimistic that Trump is keeping keep your friends close, keep your enemies closer. This is where Scotty falls down on this. He thinks that this is what's going on. I told him I wanted to believe him. I want to be wrong. And I'm going to elucidate in another segment here about why I believe we're in trouble because of Trump's actions. And I just don't think he's going to look back. And America is going to go into the great abyss of failed republics. And this is not hyperbole when I say this. I'm not where Tucker is at. If Trump were able to run for a third term, hypothetically, I'd have to think long and hard whether I'd vote for him. My loyalty ran deep. 3 elections, over 10 years of support. So do you think I make these statements lightly? And some people say, oh, Dave, I have nothing to do with you. You abandoned Trump. No, I haven't. I believe it looks like Trump has abandoned us. And there are a lot of other people that are saying what I'm saying. Underneath what's going on, I know there's a man that loves America. He cares about you and me, but it's not in evidence right now. Tucker's comments shows that the split in MAGA, people believe that Trump has betrayed America First principles. There's risks in the MAGA coalition ahead of the November midterms, with critics calling him a traitor. I'm not calling him that. And supporters praising his loyalty to U.S. interests. I fail to understand how we are pursuing American interests. He turned his back on what happened with Charlie, and we know why that happened. He's turned his back on our declining economy, and we'll get into that in the next segment. It's worse than what people realize. And Tucker elucidates that here in the document I'm looking at. Um, I'm just beside myself on this. Ladies and gentlemen, you need to stop labeling people criticizing Trump right now as jumping off the MAGA bandwagon, as being disloyal to the movement. You couldn't find a more loyal supporter than myself with Donald Trump. But if he doesn't change course and permanently get us out of this Iranian war and tell Israel to go stuff it, you're not telling us what to do. We're telling you what to do, or you can fund your own military. I'm waiting for that to happen. I believe what's going on with the spats between Trump and Netanyahu, I think they're intramural spats that mean nothing. I think they're all for show to leave the facade that Trump is still in charge of America. No, when you have a U.S. citizen, Thomas Massey, who's a sitting congressman, and $32 million of Israeli donor money comes into a congressional district primary and unseats him in very suspicious and unscrupulous ways. And Trump sits there and he's fine with it. And do you know that Massey agreed with Trump on about 90% of all issues? The big difference was Israel's not going to tell us what to do. Well, Mr. President, from one of your potentially former supporters, Israel's not going to tell us what to do. We are not going to permit the marriage of American and Israeli military at any level other than coordinated defensive efforts, which I would support, that was necessary. We are not going to take orders from Netanyahu. And if you think you're going to go to a draft, Mr. President, and you're going to support a ground war in Israel at the behest of, or excuse me, a ground war in Iran at the behest of Israel, think again. Our young people will not go. I hear this constantly from the young people. They have turned on Netanyahu. They want nothing to do with him. And TPUSA's shift away from what Charlie's vision for America was, America first, to what Erica Kirk has taken it to, people want nothing to do with it. The only ones really supporting Erica Kirk and TPUSA now because of their pro-Israeli positions that have compromised America's security and economy, the young people want nothing to do with it. The only ones that support them are the Zionist donors like Adelson. That's the bottom line. Tucker is exactly right in what he's saying. And I'm sitting here and I'm weighing where I'm going to go. You have heard me say that I believe we should do toss them all in the primaries. We should have kicked almost everybody out of office. Now, I wouldn't kick out Rand Paul. I wouldn't kick out Josh Hawley. There's a few others I would keep, but most of them need to be shown the door. We need to have waitresses and secretaries and construction workers serving in Congress. We don't need spiffy lawyers taking backroom deals, trading their integrity and our national sovereignty for campaign donations from groups like AIPAC. That's an unregulated foreign entity that should be registered. Actually, they shouldn't be allowed to donate to anything. Neither should China. And this is not unique to Trump. Biden was owned by China. And Comer showed that in the House Oversight Committees. We're going to have a lot to say about Tulsi Gabbard too, but I'm going to say this with Tulsi. God bless Tulsi Gabbard. She's going out in a storm and she's telling you MAGA has been betrayed, not by people like me, not by people like Tucker, but by the leadership of the GOP that has done a 180 away from protecting sovereignty and putting America first. America is not first in the eyes of our government. We're doing everything seemingly possible to undermine our nation's future. And it's ironic we're coming up on the 250th anniversary because I think it's more of a funeral than a celebration. Now, if you're still drinking the Kool-Aid and you think everything that's going on right now is fine, you're willing to accept the coming draft, body bags coming home from Iran, tell me. Let's have the debate. But if we were to all rise up as one and say, we're not going there, or there's going to be hell to pay in the upcoming elections, and you say, well, Dave, they'll just fix the elections. This is what I hear when I say that. Um, if we rose up as one, what they would do wouldn't work. We have a choice. We can sit back and act like disempowered people with no spine, no backbone and bone, and no brain, and accept what's happening, or we can say, no more, no more. One of the things I'm going to follow up with too, some of you people who are Christians have told me, Dave, Romans 13, render unto Caesar what is Caesar. You got to do what God wants you to do what your leaders say, pay your tax, stop arguing, do what they tell you, until they tell you to do ungodly things. And this war, the genocide in Gaza, the giving away the Palestinian land to people like Jared Kushner, Stephen Witkoff, and the Board of Peace, that's ungodly because it's theft. And I don't think what's happened in Gaza to the Palestinians, and I've never been a Palestinian supporter, ever. I blame them for letting Hamas get so much control. Stand up for your country. Have some guts. They're guilty of what a lot of us are guilty of in this country, indifference in inaction. But what's happened to these people, particularly the children, is unconscionable. And the leadership in this country has looked the other way while Netanyahu has shown you who he really is. I'm Dave Hodges. Tucker, I salute you. I'm not quite where you're at yet, but I'm moving in that direction. How about the rest of you? How much are you willing to accept of what's happening to our sovereignty, our economy, until you say no more? let me know.